Welcome to this special edition of the Journal Editorial Reports. I'm Stuart Varney in this week for Paul Gigot. Donald Trump taking fire from fellow Republicans after winning 7 states on Super Tuesday, establishing himself as the clear favorite for the GOP presidential nomination. Mitt Romney, the party's losing 2012 nominee, he went on the attack Thursday, calling Trump a phony and a fraud. And his 2016 primary opponents tried to derail the Trump train again in the Fox debate by hammering away at his conservative credentials.
For 40 years, Donald has been part of the corruption in Washington that you're angry about. And you're not going to stop the corruption in Washington by supporting someone who has supported liberal Democrats for 4 decades, from Jimmy Carter to John Kerry to Hillary Clinton.
We are not going to turn over the conservative movement or the party of Lincoln or Reagan, for example, to someone whose positions are not conservative, to someone who last week defended Planned Parenthood for 30 seconds on a debate stage.
So, as Republican voters in 4 states make their choice this very day, did all of those attacks work? Or is Donald Trump unstoppable? Let's ask Wall Street Journal columnist and deputy editor Dan Henninger, Washington columnist Kim Strassel, assistant editorial page editor James Freeman, and columnist Bret Stephens. Dan, is he unstoppable?
I think he's capable of stopping himself, to tell you the truth. Look, we are at a point now where you need a majority of the delegates, 1,237 delegates, to win. Trump would have to win 52% of the remaining delegates to gain that majority. He's got 3 people competing with him. Theoretically, it's going to be difficult for him to get to the majority. Now, in the debate this week, he brought up a subject. He usually talks in very broad stroke terms about every subject, but the question of immigration and H-1B visas came up for highly skilled workers, and he offered that he was going to be flexible on that because they need those kind of workers in Silicon Valley. Right after the debate, his campaign put out that he did not mean that, because he didn't mean it, because for immigration opponents, those H-1B visas are a very sore point. So as Donald Trump gets deeper into this primary campaign and starts talking about some of these subjects, he runs the risk of losing conservative support at the margins, and he cannot afford to do that.
He responds to that directly. He says, I am flexible. Watch this.
I've never seen a successful person who wasn't flexible, who didn't have a certain degree of flexibility. You have to show a degree of flexibility. If you're going to be one way and you think it's wrong, does that mean the rest of your life you have to go in the wrong direction because you don't want to change?
Let me raise this issue. You can't take Donald Trump at face value. What he says today is just his opening position in a bargaining, a negotiation. He'll change tomorrow. That is flexibility. What's wrong with that, James?
Well, I think Cruz pretty effectively Thursday night made the case that what Donald Trump is flexible about is basic principles about the shape of our government, the Constitution, personal liberty. And I think you asked the question, can Trump be stopped? I think he can. I think he will be stopped when this gets down to a one-on-one race. I think Cruz, with his Tuesday results and his Thursday debate performance, shows he should be the guy. I think it's time for Kasich and Rubio to get out and allow Cruz to take on Trump.
Look, the politician that most resembles Donald Trump is Barack Obama. Back in 2007, you're looking at me funny, but this is the case. In 2002,
Barack Obama won.
In 2007 and 2008, people projected on Obama whatever it was they were feeling. They wanted hope and change. He was vague. He kept it vague, and that's how he won. Right now, the mood of the Republican Party is we're angry, we want to get rid of the establishment, and that's what's propelled Donald Trump so far. But soon he will be exposed. This is the process that's begun belatedly, but it's happening. His bankruptcies are going to be exposed. Trump University is going to be exposed. His tax returns are going to come out, and people are going to see.
Wait. I've got to bring. Go on.
Is this a candidate who tells it like it is, or a candidate who is flexible and says whatever comes into his head, whatever suits his purpose?
It's the latter.
He's both.
The latter is working.
Oh, but he's supported because he tells it like it is.
Okay, come on, Kim Strassel. You got to get into this. I'm surrounded by opponents here. So,
all of this.
Where's the vulnerability?
Opening. Okay, he's got a lot of vulnerabilities. Like, people have been talking about how he got beat up on in this debate. The bigger point is that Trump made mistakes in that debate. He brought up the H-1B visa thing, which some of his supporters who are single-issue voters care about deeply. That concerned them. A lot of veterans and active-duty military heard his comment out there saying that if he asked the military to perform an unconstitutional act, well, they'll just do exactly what he said. That sent up some red flags. He has to go with all of this into these races now, the primaries and caucuses that are happening today in Kansas and Kentucky, Maine and Louisiana. Caucuses have never been his strong suit. Worse, these are closed caucuses, Republican-only voters. That's been tough on him, too. If any of that helps to stall his momentum, combined with the ad attacks that Brett was alluding to, he could have a difficult road going forward in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, let me throw this out. If Donald Trump is not the Republican nominee, if they oust him in some way, the Republicans cannot win. Dan?
Well, it is a very interesting question. I mean, they do have big problems right now. Trump has all of these supporters, but because Trump has engendered so much opposition inside the Republican Party, arguably a lot of Republicans are either not going to vote for Trump or even vote for Hillary Clinton. I think if he were out and if Cruz or Rubio were in, whose credentials are unimpeachable, that all of these on-the-fence Republicans about Trump would undoubtedly get behind the candidate.
What is absolutely clear is that if Trump is the nominee, Republicans cannot win. Maybe they can't win with Rubio or Cruz or Kasich. We don't know. But what is absolutely certain is that with Hillary Clinton locking up the Democratic base, she is going to win unless she has a strong contender who's going to be able to pull, not only bring the entire Republican Party on his side, but win moderates. Donald Trump cannot do that.
Okay. We've got to get to a commercial break. And on that note, Donald Trump cannot and will not win. There's going to be more on this, Bret Stephens. I absolutely promise you.